The secret of abundance is a secret I recently learned. I'd like to share it with you before I forget and fall back into the human condition of resistance, resisting everything in my life. Lord knows I've realized some pretty powerful things and managed to forget time and time again. But that's okay, because we made it here today to this moment to share it with each other. Now I want to let you know that I've struggled a lot in my life with different things that have to do with abundance, most specifically with money. But there are many different aspects to abundance, as I'm sure you can understand, like having an abundance of friends, having an abundance of love in your heart, having an abundance of hiking trails where you live. These are different forms of abundance. Now, I always thought that abundance was something I could tell by looking at my current situation and seeing what it is that I have. And if I'm lacking anything, then I must not be abundant. However, there's a new realization that I hope guides you to a sense of freedom and peace and a more expanded nature of abundance in your life, just as it has been for me. And that means that what we need to first look at is this statement here. Abundance is not about what you receive. Abundance is about how you receive what you receive. So when we really look at this, we see that what signals abundance in our own lives and to the universe is in the way we receive what we are given. Now, sometimes we are not always given what it is that we want. We are not always given what it is that we desire. But what I hope to share with you today, in the clearest way I can, is that what we do always get is exactly what we want more than anything, especially and always in the moment that it becomes necessary. My mom used to tell me as a kid when I'd complain it's unfair my brother got more food than me, she'd say fair is getting what you need when you need it. And what I'd like for you to see with me today is that that is actually the truth of your life and has consistently been the case. You always have exactly what you need when you need it. Now, if you're anything like me, you've had many times in your life where you didn't have money for rent. And so it begs you to think, well, I didn't have what I need when I needed it. But this experience is a lot more than just being a human. Wouldn't you agree? There's all these other dimensions to us, let alone our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our energy, our presence, our conscious awareness in any given moment. We're a lot of things. And what I believe you will feel and know to be true is that you are much bigger than just your human character. Truly, you're much bigger than just that. That I have confidence you will feel and know, and so we don't need to go too deeply into this. Now, your greater self, which I do not mean to imply that who you are right now is not as great as you could be. What I mean to imply is that there's a part of you that is so great and so tuned in and aware of all that is and is so fully unified with it all that there is an infinite intelligence present in it, and that it is you. So to enter into the next realization of this conversation, what we need to understand first together so that we may interpret the language correctly is that you right now are not separate from that greater self. You are not separate from Source, you're not separate from God, you're not separate from the universe, you're not separate from any of it. It is all you right now in this moment. It is simply that you might not be consciously aware on the human level of these other parts of yourself. And that's okay, because you actually don't need to be to receive the benefit of this video. Here's the benefit I hope to share with you. You always get exactly what you're asking for on that higher level in the exact moment that it's necessary. I've had times where I couldn't pay my rent, and I actually had days where I wasn't eating when I lived in my car I had quit my job. I had left. Life was too expensive, and I just didn't like it. And I spent years living in my car while I built this YouTube channel and this whole business and things for myself. So what's interesting is that those days I experienced, but it's interesting because not having food for those days, or not having rent, or even being able to make my car payment, when I see it in hindsight, I see that that is exactly what I needed in that moment. That it was actually much more beneficial for me to not receive the money that I wanted than it would have been to receive it. Now consider this with me. When things are going really well in your life, that's when it's easiest to become unconscious. Think about this. Bear with me. When things become very easy in our lives and everything's going exactly how we want, then we just super identify with our character, we identify with our feelings, everything's going great, right? We're like riding this epic wave and we love it and it's awesome. It's only really when things aren't going the way we want them to that we begin to suffer, and it is that suffering that causes us to look inward and start asking questions about our life, about what really matters. It's when things get tough that we begin to separate from our human character and remember that we are more than just this human experience we're having. Out of necessity, we have to. I only have 3 minutes left on my storage, so I gotta make this ending quick. I forgot about that. Who you really are, I'll say this clearly, is giving you everything that you could possibly want on a true level of what it means to your being, of what you're here for and to experience. I didn't want my ex-girlfriend, who I dated for 5 years and thought I was going to marry, I didn't want her to cheat on me for a year and a half. No, I didn't. That was devastating. But it was that very devastation that caused me to begin feeling like I was worthless and not worthy. And it was that worthlessness and that not feeling worthy that I totally didn't want that caused me to go down this negative path that I totally didn't want to go down. And it was that negative path that led me to so much destruction that I finally had to wake up. I had to wake up and realize who I really am, what I'm really here to do in this world, and who I am on that core level. I would have never known if things kept going the way I wanted them to. I would have never met my fiancée now, which I've never had a relationship with anybody that was like this. I didn't know it was possible. I would have never discovered all these passions in my life. So I could go on with many, many examples, but instead what I'll ask is for you to consider. Please consider now with me for a moment a few situations in your life that didn't go the way you wanted them to. And instead of being mad and bitter about it, just look and see what that created for you. And if it hasn't created anything and you continue to experience the same problems over and over again in your life, then I'll ask you to realize that until you receive the benefit of the gift that the universe has given you, you will continue to manifest and experience the same problems and negativity in your life. Because abundance isn't about what you receive. It's about how you receive what you're given. Thanks. Much love to you, and I'll see you for the next video.